Hey, welcome back to the podcast. I have the Lisa Munoz in the house from Austin, Texas. Thanks for making the drive up and hanging out with me today.
I am so excited about talking to you
Yes.
today.
So I was reflecting on really the first time we connected, and you told me some stories that I remember just immediately like grabbing somebody on my team and saying, I need this gal on the podcast. Like she's doing some really special stuff. For the people that haven't met you, that was funny, your comment about the bond. You're like, I don't know, who are these people? For the people that haven't met you, you've been selling real estate in Austin for 20 plus years. Didn't you go to UT?
I did.
Okay.
You want me to tell you my
Give us the backstory. Tell us.
Okay. So I'm originally from Houston. I am the first person in my family to even like graduate high school, much less go to college. And I went to UT.
That's awesome.
One of the amazing things about this business, I feel like, because you can be like anyone from
Anywhere.
and do all the things.
Yeah.
So went to UT, graduated the summer of December 99 and got my real estate license that December.
Okay. Why? Why?
Because I got it.
Was that your degree?
I studied cultural anthropology.
Well,
and then
course
when
it
I
makes
told
sense.
people, like, since nobody was like helping me figure out school,
Yes.
I got to the end. I was like, well, what do I do with this? And people were like, you go to school some more. And I was like, no.
Yeah.
Like, I'm ready to work.
But like, do you know Indiana Jones? Like that's your career path. That would be a teacher, right?
Yeah.
So, but why real estate?
Well, I had always I enjoy people, like everybody says, but I really felt like this need to do something, to make an impact, to build people's wealth. I came from a family where we didn't have a lot of resources, and I just sort of knew that if anything was to be, it was going to be kind of up to me.
Yeah.
And I loved that was something that I could do and like really change people's lives and change my life. So got into the business during the tech boom in Austin, Texas in 1999, and then came the bust shortly there.
When Austin was still this big, too.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a tiny little college town.
Okay, but nice aura ring, by the way. One of Twin Powers.
Cheers.
Did you actually say that to yourself when you were just getting out of college, like, oh, I can really help people create wealth and yada, yada, yada? Or were you like a typical college kid, clueless, and just fell into something and fell in love with it?
No, I got a fake ID when I was 14 years old so that I could work at a flea market back in the day when you could get a fake ID and like it was passable. But I just always loved to work, and I always focused in on something, bigger than myself. So even back in the day when I was slinging smoothies, I just took that job so seriously.
Yeah.
I got to be manager because it was like, I don't know. I cared about the people. I cared about the product that we were giving. And so, yes, by the time I graduated college, I was like, this is something I can do.
Yeah. So how was the first year? I mean, looking back, 20 plus years ago.
Yeah. I mean, the first year, I think I did maybe 2 deals.
Yeah.
But I was coming off of being a very poor college student. So making, $7,000 that year, I was like, well, that's more money than I made,
Winning.
last year.
Yeah.
And I just took it sort of slow and steady. And I did what my mentor at that time told me to do, which was focus in on taking care of people. He worked by referral. He kind of brought me under his wing, and I took it very, very seriously.
Yeah. Yeah. When did the business click? I mean, because the business is clicking now.
Yeah.
But when did it click for you?
Yeah. I mean, so those 2 deals turned into 4, turned into like every year for a while, it doubled. And probably 5 or 6 years into it, I was like, okay, this is a business and it's supporting me and I'm growing it every year. But yeah, it's been clicking along pretty nicely for a little while now.
Tell me in your mind, the early lessons, the mistakes that there might be a young guy or young gal listening right now who is 22. Getting ready to go into real estate. And if they can fast track it, they want to fast track it. Though you and I both know we got to make a lot of mistakes to learn and get experience. But if we can help them fast track it, but we also have some veterans that are listening that maybe, the pandemic displaced them. Maybe even this new environment with interest rates has displaced them. And maybe, just maybe, it's going to be that insight they needed to hear as well.
Yeah, I mean, like anything, there's always something shiny and pretty to distract you, even within your business. There's always more education. There's a realtor tour. There's this or that to take you away from what really is going to drive your business. And maybe it was because I was like young and I really believed in this mentor, but I feel like from the get-go, he told me, You talk to people, you call people, you write them notes, you take care of them, you meet with them, you know, you give them the best service possible, and that's going to grow your business. And so I was pretty laser focused on that for a long time. I didn't go to, you know, realtor tours and, you know, parties and things like that when lots of other realtors did that, because I was like, no, but he said what's going to grow my business is that if I meet with this person, I take care of them.
Conversations and appointments and take care of clients.
Totally.
Yeah.
But then he also really helped me believe in the power of the system and the process. So, you know, sure, there are lots of people that are meeting with folks and taking care of them, but their business hasn't done what my business has done.
Bingo.
And
we're going to unpack that today, by the way. That's a big part of what we want to get to.
Okay, sounds good.
Yes. But so now, and why don't we just fast forward? So give us a little context for the last like 5-6 years, like volume and transactions, and then let's talk about the size of the team today. And then we're going to really kind of get into the sausage making of it all, because that's, I mean, you have so many cool things for people to unpack with. So give us this sort of the growth, the last 5-6 years, 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, you know, that those years.
Yeah, I can't remember all the dates, and I can't really see the numbers that I wrote down here, but I believe it was in the
prepared. Yes,
in the, you know, probably 40 to 45 million-ish 5 years ago, and then this past year, 2022, closed out at about 60 million. Year before that, 65 million. So I've been running a referral and repeat business for the past 22 years, and just about every year, you know, it grows, and some years it grows a little bit more, but it's been a consistent business generated solely from my sphere of influence, my past clients, repeat business.
And how many people in your database today?
Well, I have about 1,300 households, and about 950 of those are past clients. So it's pretty lean database.
Yeah. So why the word households? I love that. Why?
Well, because that's, you know, a couple is one household, and then we just have individuals, and sometimes, you know, it's more than just like a, you know, husband, wife, or partners or whatever. And so, one contact, household.
Got it.
Yep.
I was actually thinking almost many of the spectacular agents that truly have scaled a referral-based business, and you truly have, because it's like no open houses. You know, I think I don't know when you got on Instagram. I think it was recent. You know, like
September.
Some of this new stuff that now we're exploring together. But what you've done extraordinarily well is almost like assets under management. It's almost like my financial planner. He or she can only handle so many clients, and they just work with those clients and occasionally bring on someone new that gets referred in, but they run out of time eventually. It's like a capacity thing. I don't think that's the issue today, but we'll probably unpack that. So what does the team look like today? Because you're doing 100 transactions a year ish?
Yeah, top 119 2 years ago was kind of the highest number of transactions I've done. Yeah.
So I think it's important for people to understand. Why don't you walk us through? So let's say Hector refers me to you, and Kath and I. Hi, Lisa. We just talked to our friend Hector. He said you did an amazing job. We want to work with you. We want to sell our house and buy a house. What happens next?
Oh my gosh, so many things. I mean, typically that doesn't come in to me directly, but it might come into email or something like that. And so someone on my team will take that inquiry, and about 20 things happen before that person even comes to meet with me for a buyer consultation. Well, an email goes out. So happy that, you know, Hector referred you to me. I'd love to get you set up with Lisa. Here's some homework. If you fill it out, it's going to help you get better prepared for your meeting. And I've talked with some other agents, and they're like, what? Homework? People are going to fill out homework? Right. But this is a little bit of the secret of the sauce here in our business, where secret sauce. Just a little bit, because there's a lot of secret sauce. But it is in being very thoughtful and intentional about who this person is that's coming to us. So in that homework, not only do we get your address and who referred you and that kind of thing, but we know, you know, what's your favorite coffee drink? Where's your favorite restaurant? Are you vegan? Are you vegetarian? Your dog's names. We ask them all these questions, and they answer them. And so then in our CRM, we have hug fields for just about every one of our clients, right? And so any team member can open up Tom's contact, and they're going to be able to see what you like to drink, where you like to eat, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And so we're
a more holistic approach to pre-qualifying a customer. I want to know, who are you? Who's coming to my office? I love
because
it.
we exist to create incredible real estate experiences, right?
Yes.
And so this is not just about, I'm going to help you buy or sell a house, because in real estate, like, we should all be able to do that pretty well.
Yeah.
So they need to get something completely different when they come and they visit with us. So all that happens, we get queued up for a meeting. I have a buyer consultation with every single new buyer that comes, right?
How long does it take?
45 minutes to an hour.
What do you cover? What are 3 components, 4 components, 5 components?
Well, first I want to know what they want. They already know about me, my team, or how we do business, right?
Yep.
Like what's, and then
like photo of the team, something like, this is how we do it.
Not typically. It's me and my buyer specialist in that meeting. It's at the office every time. If you've worked with us in the past, you're still going to come in and have a buyer consultation, because that's how we start every relationship.
Yeah.
If they're from afar, we'll do a Zoom. But if you're in Austin, we feel like it's really important for you to come in and meet with us. And people do it.
Yes.
There's an energy exchange that happens. I know a lot of folks that were doing Zoom meetings over the pandemic are like, oh, it's so much more efficient. I still do Zoom and I love it. And it's just not for us.
Yeah.
So they come in. We do have a buyer's guide. We talk to them about how we work and why it's so important for us to all show up as a team for them. I let them know, hey, I've been doing business for a long time, and I found out it takes more than one person to run around and do all the things that have to be done in this business for you. I'm going to be a part of everything that happens on this team, but really what I do is I focus on strategy and the market so that the people who are here helping you reach your real estate goals have what they need to make sure you get what you want. And so we have this meeting.
Okay, just stop. How many of you on my team think she's used that presentation a few times? Like, I'm watching her and I'm like, she went like this. Okay, so then what I do is right into presentation mode. I was like, that was really good. If you are watching this, you saw what I just saw. If you're listening, go back and watch it on YouTube, because she went into a buyer consultation with me right there in the moment. All right.
We do. And so we do that.
Here's my team and how we do it. But now what happens when they say, are you not going to show us houses?
Yeah, they don't typically anymore, because they have been trained by the person who's referring that, like, hey, this is how that team works, and it's awesome. So when you go and look at our reviews, our buyers and sellers mention the team members by name. First of all, they say, oh my gosh, it was so amazing working with Lisa. Yeah. She's incredible. And then Teal, and then Lori, and then Helen, and they name them out.
Yeah. Wow, and that's great.
I oftentimes, with a buyer or seller, I'll spend an hour with them, right? Like at that initial consultation, and then I'll show up at closing. But they feel like I'm a part of everything that happens during the transaction.
So you explain all that. Then it's, I'm assuming, tell me about the home of your dreams. What are your expectations? What are you trying to accomplish? Or no? What do you do?
Yeah, no, it is all of that.
Do you go contracts?
A bit. It's more about, like, we want to understand your lifestyle and your financial goals, right? Like, once we understand that, we are going to really be able to show up out in the field that if you're looking for a house and it's the wrong one based on what you've told us, and we think you can do better, we're going to tell you that. And they'll be like, yeah, such and such told me that you might not even let me buy a house because, you know, you talk them out of more houses than you say, yes, we should do it. And that's something that's very important for me and my team, and kind of why I built out my team the way I did.
We're going to unpack the model.
Okay. Don't talk about it yet.
Okay. So buyer consult is, this is how we work. You probably heard this from the person you referred to. Now, what are your lifestyle goals? What are you guys trying to accomplish?
Then we go into a little bit of the buyer specialist is there with us. Then we go into, you know, hey, these are the areas where those homes match up. This is how we're going to follow up. This is how the meetings are set. You know, we text for timely things. We're going to email for things if we want to, you know, unpack like why this house, you know, doesn't quite line up or whatever. And so all of that is gone over. We talk about, depending on what the market's doing, right? What kind of earnest money is happening right now?
What's the strategies for offers?
Exactly.
So someone right now is listening, and they're, I could picture her. I could literally name the person, and she's going, like, she's pulling her hair out going, I did 1,200 transactions last year. I did 100 of them with past clients in Sphere, and I did 1,100 with Zillow and Realtor.com and HomeLight, and no digital buyer would go through this experience. What do you say to that person?
You know,
she has the same name as you, by the way.
Does she?
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
I would say that, you have to just believe in it, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know because I don't work a bunch of digital buyers just yet. So that is definitely a lead pillar that we're bringing in. I'm working on with my coach.
Shout out to Coach Aaron.
Yes, go Coach. And so I'm excited to explore that. Yeah. But with what we are doing and our identity in the marketplace, and if this person is doing that many deals, I feel like they will be able to, it's just in the presentation of, they will be able to buy into the fact that if you do that, if I fill this out or if I take the time for that, you're going to be able to serve me even better. Right. But you need to be able to make sure that they understand that. It's not just like, fill out this form because, we're stalkers and we want to know where you like to hang out for coffee. It's like, hey, if I know where you like to get coffee, I know a lot about you. Right. I'm able to help you buy a better house.
Like, what part of town makes sense to you? Where do you like, what's your favorite record store in town? Those are questions I like to ask. What's your favorite record store? Who's got the best record store? Okay, so let's transition to the team and the model.
Okay.
So tradition, there's 15 different team structures today. There's single agent who says they don't have a team and they've got 2 licensed assistants. One is their kid smoking weed in the basement, right? Then you've got the traditional family business. They don't really identify as a team, but they're clearly a team. Then you got the 6 guys or gals that all wear the same colored outfit to have the photo that they all look the same, but there's no operator behind it. So they're just doing strength in numbers, all the way to, my buddy Jason, who now is in 18 states. And he's got this monster teamerage in 18 states doing thousands of transactions. So there's no wrong way to do it.
Right.
But your model, I know a few people that have your model. So just describe it for people, like the differences.
Yeah, it's really different. So I am the team lead, and all of the business that comes into our group right now comes from my sphere. Yes. So even though we have licensed folks on the team, people aren't out there acquiring business. They're not bringing business in to the deals. But we get
intentionally or because they can't?
Had been both. Yeah. Been a little bit intentionally, and I think people are trying. And it's hard. It's a lot harder than it looks. We are interested in having our couple of buyer specialists bring in more business this year, but that just hasn't been the case in years past. And so I started my team with an assistant. 20 years ago, I probably had like an assistant helping with things. And then I've grown it pretty organically. So my assistant is now our operations manager. She creates our system. She's been with me forever. She's amazing. And she is licensed. I have a full-time contract to close coordinator who is obviously licensed, been with me forever. I have 2 buyer specialists and a listing manager. And a Care Bear.
Care Bear.
I have a Care Bear.
Bum, bum, bum. This is the reason we're on the show, ladies and gentlemen. If you didn't figure it out, I was like, Care Bear? You're like, and Care Bear is responsible for like 97% of all my deals. I was like, what is Care Bear's job description? What is her disc profile?
Care Bear. And so...
But I want to go back to, and everybody is commission only?
Salary.
Everybody
is on a salary.
Why is that? Why do you have 2 buyer specialists salaried? Do they get compensated in any way, shape, or form on closed transactions?
Everybody also gets a bonus each month based on profits. So.
And why did you go to this model?
I went to this model because one of the things that I feel like built my business was that I saw everyone as somebody that I could help. Whether they were buying or selling a house right now, I wanted to give them the time, the tools to figure out, if I can't do this right now, when can I do it? What's the plan? And I never wanted anybody to feel like I was trying to sell them a house because I needed to get paid. Right. And I know that my intentions are pure, but when I brought somebody else on, who knows? I mean, maybe they really had to pay rent or do whatever and sell a deal. And so I wanted to provide a salary so that person can come on. And if it was a wrong house for you, Tom, be able to be like, hey, man, based on what you told me, there's a better house. Like if you want to buy this one, we can do it. I want you to go in eyes wide open with why it's not the right house.
Based on what you told me, too close to this street, this too busy.
There's a better one. Let's keep looking. Yep.
And no commission breath.
None of that, right? And so we did that for many, many years. And now I feel like everybody on my team also has kind of, pure intentions. And I feel like we could probably tweak the model a little and it might evolve into something else. But that was the reason I did that. And it made me feel good because my business is set up in such a way that, no one deal is going to make or break us. Right.
Does the fixed monthly cost keep you up at night sometimes?
I mean, in March 2020, when no one was going to buy a house for 2 months, I was a little bit like, but I really am a great planner and I really believe in investing in my people and my business. And I've been able to take care of folks. I mean, when I stop and think of that number, at the beginning of January, when the dashboard resets to zero, I'm like, oh shit. Okay. Here we go again.
We got to help some clients.
That's right.
I love it. And there's a lot of people that have flirted. A lot of my friends will be listening to this and they will say, God, I flirted with that model. But the salaried salesperson part, we look at what I would say the tragic lack of client experience with Redfin as an example, someone that did it at scale. I think Redfin has a beautiful website, right? I think a lot of consumers think that too, but the discount thing went away because that didn't matter to consumers. And the sort of, person that's just doing 800 million deals a year, just opening doors and doesn't seem to work.
Yeah.
How do you make yours work? How do you, what's their time capacity at the sales team? Do they list every house? Do they show every house? How many transactions? The biggest constraint of growth, I think, with you is time.
Right.
But probably the same with your two buyer's agents. So there was a question somewhere in all that.
Yeah,
craziness.
I'm not sure if I got it, but I'll start to answer and then you can redirect me.
How much can they actually do?
Yeah, I mean, a good amount. I mean, the fact that we have such great in-office support, right? When a client comes in, it's not it's Carson or Lori's client. They're in their care, but they also have the full support of the team, right? That buyer specialist is not the person who's typically writing up amendments or scheduling closing or scheduling the inspections. I mean, the moment it
contract
goes
to close, right?
And it's not just checking off the box contract to close. My contract to close coordinator, oh my gosh, she's so freaking amazing. So we all know that when it goes into contract to close, Helen is going to blow that client away. And
anybody named Helen.
Anybody named Helen. Yes. Yeah, especially this Helen. But then the buyer specialist is really just on a weekly basis. Hey, how's it going? Just checking in. Everything's on track. Yeah. Right on schedule.
Right.
So it does free them up then to go and do the other thing.
Yeah. It's truly, we talk so much about the industrialization of the real estate transaction. And sometimes when you say that to people, they think you're taking humanity out. And I'm like, no, you're replacing a lot of human error. Lisa's the best at this. That's what she does. Tom is the best at this. That's what he does. Jordan is great at this. Ellie's great at this. Hector's great at this. Edie's great at this. And then together the client gets this beautiful experience.
They do. And it has to feel like it's by design. I hear all these other agents are like, oh, I want to bring a showing agent and I'm going to do a little bit of this. And then the buyer or the seller feels handed off.
Right.
And when our person comes in, they know this is super thoughtful.
Right.
All of this is happening according to Lisa's perfect plan.
Yep.
Right. It never feels like haphazard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. We all screw up. Every business does. I do. You do. What do you guys do when you screw up? Somebody drops the ball somewhere, whether it was intentional or not, whether it was the client's reaction or not. Everybody drops the ball sometimes. What do you guys do? I
mean, we do whatever it takes to make it right. I mean, I learned in my very first, probably 5 deals or so, this client closed on a house and there was some dinky thing with her dishwasher that didn't work after the fact. And I went and tried to chase the listing agent down and she was really upset about this. And I was like, I can't get them to do anything about it. And I didn't just fix the damn problem.
Yeah.
And she never talked to me again. And so I am definitely of the mindset, if something goes awry, let's say, whatever, somebody's dishwasher after the fact. I'm not paying for everything. It doesn't happen often. But if somebody is really upset about something and I go to try and make it right with the other agent and that doesn't happen, I might write a little check to take care of that client, because I know that relationship is worth so much. In fact, we have our whole database organized in such a way that we can pull these lifetime value referral trees for clients.
Secret sauce. We're going there. Yes.
But, we can pull who has referred us who, and then it shows us, how much in total income that is. And what's interesting when you look at the reports in that way, I mean, oftentimes we're like, oh man, we really love this client because, Tom's awesome, he's great, but maybe Tom never actually sent me a referral, but he comes top of mind because I like hanging out with him.
Right.
You start to see these reports and you're like, actually this other guy who's a little bit more quiet and maybe, we got along okay, he sent me like 8 referrals. And so then when we go into our gifting strategy and client appreciation parties, we can make sure that those people that are really putting our names out there and having deals at close are the people that are also getting taken care of.
So we were chatting off camera and I said, we were talking about like marketing, this and that. And I said, so if I was in your database, I would imagine I'd see this and this and this and this and this and this. I'm in your database. Somebody's looking for the checklist. You know what they're looking for? They're looking for, it's layers.
So many layers.
It's never one thing. People are like, Tom, what's the best postcard right now? And I'm like, it's this one and the other 1,100 that you sent over the last 10 years. It's layers. Talk to us about the layers of what a client experiences after the closing, and I've referred you or not, whatever, but these layers of sort of marketing campaigns. So what happens?
Well, I think before you get to the layers, right? And I feel like I have to make sure that people have this part, because again, with the shiny, pretty things and the tools and the technology, you have got to have the transaction so dialed in, not just to deliver. Of course, your job is to make sure they get to closing and things feel great. That's basic. So you need to have every system and process completely dialed in to make sure that happens every single time.
Okay, counterpoint. Isn't there a moment in every escrow ever that things go a little sideways?
Oh, for sure. Things are always
I just want to be clear.
But not because of something you did, right?
Correct.
The basics should always happen. They should feel communicated with. But if you have that relationship, those things that go sideways are an opportunity. Some of the best referrals come from folks where I solved a really big freaking problem.
And they say, thank you.
At the end of the deal.
Right. Thank you.
For sure.
So I did a great transaction.
Yep. You did a great job. They know that your business comes to you by referral, and that in order for you to continue to keep your head down working for them, it's great for them to refer folks to you. So that has to be part of the whole transaction. And then after that, some of the stuff is really basic. We're looking to elevate it. So the Care Bear actually just came into my world.
Care Bear. Okay, now hold on. I have to look to the younglings in the room.
Care Bear,
the 5 Care Bears, the yellow one, the green one, the shooting. Let's all shoot some love from our bellies or hearts or whatever. We're talking Care Bear, right? Am I okay? All right. So just want to make sure I'm on pace here.
Right. You just want to hug it.
Right. Exactly.
Make you feel so good. Yeah.
So what did Care Bear do with you before she transitioned to the title of Care Bear?
Yeah. So Care Bear was a past client.
Yes.
And I was looking for a listing manager, and I was like, man, Lauren, I'll say her name because that's a Care Bear's name. Everybody.
I never remembered your name, Lauren. I apologize because I know she told me that I just heard Care Bear, and I was like, I have to interview her just to talk about Care Bear.
And she was great as a client. She was with it. And I was like, okay, this person's going to make an amazing listing manager. We need this person.
Yes.
So she came in and she was a thoughtful listing manager. But the things that she noticed were less the checklist, the systems, all the logistics, and more the well, you know what Mary really needs? Gosh, she's stressed about this. And what if I dropped off some bath bombs and a tea and I was like, yeah, that's awesome. And we need to get this listing
checklist. We need photos into the MLS, and the price needs to be correct. Yeah.
Right. And so I was like, you know what? Her unique ability is really being able to feel the empathy of this person,
high sensitivity,
and not just be like, I'm going to send them cookies, to get at what it is that they really want. And I was like, I've been sending birthday cards, and I'll, I do gifts along the way, but it's really,
but it could be like tchotchkes, you know what I mean? Like it's just, here's some stuff.
Yeah, here's some stuff. And it might be something that I would send to somebody else. It wasn't something that if you got it, you'd be like, oh my God, Lisa really knows me.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like, you're so great at this.
Does this start though at the intake process of coffee and where do you, favorite restaurant?
All of that.
What's your music choice? The hobbies? What part of town do you like to hang in? Okay.
Yeah.
So the whole thing is connected from this, Salesforce, CRM, whatever it is, all the way through.
That's right. We've been collecting this information for 2 decades, and we haven't really been able to fully utilize it until the Care Bear has come and is able to take it. So I was like, you're awesome. I think you should do this on my team. Do you think you would like it? Yeah. And she said yes. And of course, I created a system around it. So it wasn't just like, go out and give gifts to everybody.
Yeah.
Because I've talked to a few other agents too, where they're like, oh, I'm giving these really expensive gifts that I'm gifting all the time and I'm not getting this.
I'm not getting anything back. Yeah.
It's not really about the gift to start, but then it will be.
Yeah. Do you know the company Client Giant?
I've just heard of them. Yeah.
Okay. I passed on investing in that company. Fellas, you guys should call me. We should re-engage. Because it's just one of those things that I just think they did a thoughtful job. It's like obviously very shameful self-promotion with these guys. They did a thoughtful job of operationalizing a gifting strategy where my buddy John Rulin, who wrote the book, right? And John's been on my podcast, super guy. But it's mostly about the knives business, right? And then he does some over-the-top crazy stuff. But his concept is right. His concept, everybody should read the book.
Right.
And then I look at Client Giant, and I'm sure there's 10 others. But it sounds like Care Bear is the operationalized in-house version of that.
Correct.
What's her monthly budget? What can she do, and how do you hold her accountable, or do you hold her accountable, to a number? Not
to a number yet, right? Because she's recent in this position, but because I can go in. So we have our database organized in such a way that the people who refer us are called champions.
Yeah.
And so 2 months before a champion's birthday, so she creates a spreadsheet and she's like, okay, well, Paul's birthday is on February 10th. He's outdoorsy. He likes to run. I was thinking about a Yeti filled with his favorite beer and these running sunglasses. And there's a link to it. And I'm like, approve, change, whatever.
Yeah.
So I have, all the champions' birthdays in
How
a spreadsheet.
Many are there?
Not that. The champions, not that, maybe 5 per month.
Okay. So total is 60. Like if there was out of the 1,300 down to 950, there's 60 champions, and they refer how many on average? Would you guess? You probably know the exact number.
No, I don't know the exact number, but to be a champion, you have to have referred at least 2 people in the last 2 years. So not many.
Okay.
But some people, have referred 10.
Right.
Okay.
I interrupted. I apologize.
No, that's okay.
So she's got 5 to 6 people every month that are in the champions list, and it sounds like it's under $500 would just be my guess.
Oh, for each gift?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Doesn't have to be extravagant. Just thoughtful.
But it's I know this person.
That's right.
Right? It makes them feel that. Cool.
And and this is where I think for certain gifts, for birthdays and to start this off, right? It's okay to systematize around something that, hey, everybody gets that same thing. It's the consistency.
Yeah.
That's, again, the secret sauce is we do the same thing over and over again, and it's just
run plays
built.
At work.
Yeah, we do that.
Yeah.
But for this, so that's a champion strategy. Yeah. Everybody else still gets a birthday card, and they get, an ice
home
cream
anniversary,
or whatever.
Summertime this, back to school that.
Yeah, and we have lots of clients that are writing books. I mean, we have amazing freaking clients. And so she's looking at my social media all the time, and she'll be like, oh my gosh, such and such, their book just got released. Let's send them a whatever.
Or go buy 10 copies and get them out as gifts or whatever. Yes.
Right. So she is proposing to me. I do my final approval or massage it a little bit, and then she takes care of it.
So when you decided to do this, you had an intention. There was a hypothesis. Put Lauren in charge of Care Bear role, should get X return. Or was there?
I mean, yes and no. Yeah. This has been such a part of our business from the beginning that I know it works.
So you just took it off maybe someone else's plate, maybe yours, and now it's just operationalized under one person?
Yeah. I mean, so we'll send out 50 or 60 birthday cards every single month and things like that. And that's just, somebody else on the team was kind of doing that. But I was like, no, now is the time. We've been doing this long enough to where we've been getting all of this information. We love on these clients. They've been supporting us for decades.
Right.
Let's really show them that we know them.
There's a reason why we asked you all these questions.
Right.
There's a reason why. Now you're like, wow, like how did they know? Well, that's right. Remember that initial interview? We shared, we liked, we might tell them we want to upgrade now. We love the Four Seasons. That's our new.
Right. Yeah. So, anybody who told me their favorite drink was Topo Chico, now they might be like, oh no.
Yeah, no, we moved beyond that. That's so California now. Okay, so I get a birthday card, I get a home anniversary. If I'm a champion, I get X. If I send you a referral, what do you do?
So I didn't
agent or past client. Like, what do you do?
Not a ton. I mean, we call them, we thank them for the referral. We give them like a $30 Whole Foods gift card.
Right.
I never gave closing gifts for a while. So again, it's not the gift, but those are the things
layers.
that
it's layers.
Those are the layers. So that's what they get. Right. We have legendary client appreciation parties. So much so that people will come in the initial buyer consultation and be like, so I hear you have really great parties.
Am I going to make the party?
Yeah, am I going to be in? And I mean, we hype them up. They go on a wait list. This past year.
What?
Yeah.
Wait list?
Yeah.
We got to buy a house from Lisa Munoz just to be a part of the party.
We have fire dancers. This past year, we rented out this. Yeah.
Yes.
We rented out this really cool like gardens, and we have cocktails. I mean, it's not just like here's your drink ticket. It's like get wasted, like, eat all this food on us.
Yes.
But we had a 25.
How many people?
150. We cap it at about 150.
And like, how did they get on the list? Besides buying a house, like do you send out like, if you take this, like here's a marble, and if you take it to this location, we're then going to give you.
We start with the champions, then we go with the advocates, we go with the people that closed in the past year who we want to be champions. Yeah. So that's typically how we.
So there's a strategy behind it.
Yeah, through the invite list. But 25-piece renegade marching band, brass band came into our last party. Like nobody knew it was happening. We're having drinks and hear this music like down the street, and all of a sudden, all these people in costumes are like New Orleans style playing.
Love it.
Yeah, so
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of like, people are like, I don't really like events because people aren't going to show up. And I'm like, no, people always show up. And the right people always show up, right? Even when it's small or smaller than expected. But like, you haven't been to the summit yet, have you? Were you there? Okay, so so shout out to Eric and Carrie. I was the officiant, Reverend Tom Ferry, at their wedding. So get this. I throw every year from the very beginning, I'm like, client appreciation party. It's the one chance where the vast majority of my clients are all going to be together, in a room. I rent out the House of Blues or, some crazy spot. And then it's just kind of a rager, which is, kind of crazy because it's like the day before the last day of the event. So then the next day, like I'll try and, now you're all going to get the behind the scenes scoop. I'm like, I'm going to have the best guest speaker at 10 o'clock in the morning because they're all going to walk in like a little, Tom Ferry's parties are a bit much. And then, the day progresses and I try and end at noon so they can go be hungover someplace else. But Carrie signed up for coaching because she met this kid, Eric, who was really hot. And he's like, hey, you coming to the party tonight? She's like, what party? He's like, the party. She's like, oh no, like, hey, how do I get into the party? Well, you got to be a coaching member. She signed up for coaching
but to
go to the party, and now they're married, and I was the officiant of their wedding. Bang!
Look at all that. Just
I guess they would be on the champions list.
Yeah,
right?
they would be.
Right. But what do you say to the person that's listening to us? Because we obviously, like, you're a party person. I'm a party person. Like, we like throwing these events. We get it. It's stressful. Yeah. What do you say to the person that's like always just afraid to do it?
Yeah, I mean, and so I will say, while I like throwing a great party and I get energy from people, I mean, the way I am in my business, because so much of me is used up during the week, I don't do a lot of that stuff.
Yeah. I'm with you.
I don't really see clients in the evening. I don't really see clients on the weekends. Yeah. But for the person who's afraid to do that, like, do it in your comfort
vibe, your
zone.
Jam.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be huge like that. I mean, what we're starting to do now is, just having a quarterly, get the chef's table at a really cool restaurant that people want to go to, and invite 5 or 6 of your top people. Like, you need to know in your database who those people are, and invite them and hang out with them, because really you're going to be able to spend a lot more time with those folks than anyway. I mean, these huge parties are like a wedding. I get to talk to you for like 1 minute and somebody's like, hey. So it's good for like creating a certain buzz. And if you do have a lot of referral clients, it's cool because they see other people that they know.
And you're doing this. Hey, you two got to meet. Hey, you two got to meet. I love that part.
Yeah. But it could be whatever. Like it just has to be where you can feel like you're you.
I have clients that have literally said, I bought like 30 tickets to the orchestra and I invited all my clients. I'm like, whatever your jam is your jam.
Right.
You with me? Like everyone's going to do it their way. The key is do it. Because every time we can be face to face with these wonderful people that like, I don't know, but like there's clients that become friends. Mm-hmm. And then there's like friends that become family. Mm-hmm. And for me, as long as I have a lot of people that are in like that family circle, like come to my house, they know my mother-in-law, you know what I mean? Like they've had that experience because we've been around each other for a long time.
Right.
And we connect on that level. And I think I would just invite people as they're listening to think through it's okay to have those layers, but you got to do something for them. And then figure out what is that hierarchy tier, if you will, of experience. Kind of Disneyland, like we were talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I think that there is, I just feel like, again, I'm not saying anything revolutionary or there's nothing that's hard to do. No. But what is hard to do is to just do it. Like commit to it and be like, this is what I do. Yeah. Like this is the framework. Like for me, one of my, fundamentals or the framework is, I work out 5 days a week. Like it's not a decision that I have to make every morning. It's just like, I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I go get on a bike or I do this. Like that's my day. And it's kind of the same, with my business. Like this is how we do it. And we're going to do it this way every time. And then that builds over time.
Yeah,
stop freaking thinking about it.
Yeah, my favorite song. This is how we do it, right? Like, and if you have that for your business, it's so interesting. Like, for the person that's listening, you just heard Lisa describe how she identifies herself. Like our identity creates our routines, and our routines become everything in our life and our business. Right? If you wake up in the morning, you go to the gym every day, it's because in some way you either identify as an athlete or you identify as someone like, I know when I do this, I feel infinitely better and I can serve more. Whatever it is, it's all a story in your head. Yep. The person that doesn't make phone calls, it's a story in their head. The person that loves doing open houses, it's a story in their head. Right. It's all a freaking story. How do you continue to shape and evolve the story? Because we're obviously engaged because you had figured this much out, and now with you and Aaron, you're trying to add more to it. Not a million things, one or two, but how do you evolve the thinking? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think about that a lot. I mean, fortunately, I am energized through new experiences. I'm constantly curious, even though it seems like we have this figured out, and my poor team, right? They're like, yeah, but we had, 170 people reach out to us last year to buy, sell, or invest. I'm like, why just 170?
Right.
Like,
right.
Where,
why not 1,170? Exactly.
So I am always asking that question. And inside of me, I want to do more because I know I can do more. I have the potential. That's my story. Right. I want to impact my team, everybody that I do business with. And we're in this world that like what worked before isn't going to work in the future. No, now, the one thing that will never change is that people want to be cared for. We want belonging. We want connection. That will never, ever change.
Highest human need.
That's right. And I recognize when someone comes to me, I recognize that all the experiences that you had before our time together are different from anybody I've ever met. And if I can see that in you and I can meet you where you are, you're going to be like, Lisa is awesome. And she wants to help me. Like, I believe that. Yeah. And so I tried to keep that and everything moving forward. But I'm definitely getting outside of my comfort zone, this whole like social media and videoing. I'm just like, shit, I'm just going to do it. Like, this is really scary. But, I went to, I guess it was in April or May, Katie Day had like a video blueprint in Houston.
Yeah. I'm speaking at it this year.
Oh, really?
Yes,
okay, cool.
Yes. But Jason was there. Jason
was there. Yep. And that was when I really got this whole like you have to do video thing. Yeah. And I was like, I don't even know.
Does anybody else hear the way she's describing her identity? This whole video thing.
I mean, I'm getting into it now. I'm getting into it. But so I went back home and I said, okay, I have to do video. I have no idea how to do it. Let me just find somebody who's like a production company that's doing it really well.
Right.
I put them on a retainer. It was expensive. I booked them for the following month, an 8-hour shoot. And that was my way of being like, I cannot find something more important than this. Right. I'm paying these people a lot of money. They're going to meet me there. And so now I meet them every other month and I film 8 hours worth of video and I'm like so tired.
Yes.
And now I'm figuring out how to use it because, I didn't have the whole picture of like, YouTube or whatever.
Shorts,
I don't even know.
Instagram Reels.
I didn't know any of that. I'm just like, I'm going to do the video. Yeah. And so now I'm working with my coach about building my YouTube channel and doing all of these other things, right? Because you don't have to know everything when you start. You just have to be like, this is important because the people in the industry who know what's what told me it's important. I'm going to do it and then figure it out.
Yeah.
But don't just go wasting money everywhere. Like make sure it's working and have a plan to figure it out.
I interviewed a guy named David Schwartz on my podcast from New York, and it was interesting. So he I'll make these challenges, 30-day video challenge. Mm-hmm. And then because I operate only with really wonderful, crazy people, he and a couple of his buddies were like, let's do 365 days and see what happens.
Oh, geez.
So he finished, a video a day. No, it was just Instagram Reel, hey, it's David, just checking in with whatever the tip of the day or whatever. It matters, but it almost doesn't matter.
Right.
Because like anything else, when you do something consistently, you begin to build an audience. You begin to have people start saying, there she is. Mm-hmm. I see her everywhere. And that's half the battle. So I asked him on the show, I'm like, did any of the videos actually bring you any clients? Like, did you get DM'd? He goes, no. And I was like, oh, I love that he said no. And then I said, but what happened? He goes, every appointment I went on was just easier. Mm-hmm. They knew me. They liked me. They're like, it was just an easier presentation because I didn't have to say, hi, I'm David. This is all my stuff. Right. This is how we do it. They're like, we already get all that stuff. Like, we're just excited about getting, what should we do to the house to get it ready? Mm-hmm. Like they went right into, we've already chosen you.
Yeah.
So why are you doing video?
Yeah, same. Like I want to amplify my identity. Meeting with 150 to 200 people a year is a lot. Yes. But I have some videos that have, 5 or 15,000 views. That's insanity to me. We did, even though, so I posted my first video with this production team September of last year. So it's been a few months. Yeah. And just had a buyer consultation yesterday with a cute little couple out of California. And when they filled out their homework, because I had they weren't referred. Yes. They filled out their homework very quickly and said, how did you find us? And can we thank them for the referral? They said, Instagram. And so when I got on that consultation, I was like, hey, so have you found me on Instagram? Like, I still don't have any idea how that works. Yes. I'm so glad you found me. Yes. She's like, I saw that one video that you did walking through the house and you were pointing out all these things. And it's just so educational. Yeah. And I just feel like you're the right person. I was like, cool, let's go.
Right. Yeah. That's, Jason and I talk about it. So I got on YouTube in like 2007 and all my friends, they know this story, but it was, how could I give the best of me every day for free? Mm-hmm. And the thought was, so when I come into town and I say, who's seen me speak before, and no hands go up, I don't feel incredibly crushed. But instead I say, how many of you see me on YouTube, Facebook, back in the day, Beluga, who knows me from MySpace, and hands would go up. Yeah. And I was like, okay, they have context for me. Yeah. Right. And there's just, I hope that the person listening, that if you've maybe like Lisa, this is a new venture for you. It's not about you being Insta famous. It's not about you becoming the next YouTube superstar. It is about scaling your trust, scaling your truth, scaling your brand, and getting more people to just get to know you.
For sure. I mean, that was a little bit of my hesitation, right? It was like, I don't just want a bunch of followers just to have followers. No. Like, I want them if it's going to turn into business, if I'm going to reach somebody that I wasn't able to reach. So before the recording of this podcast, who knows where it's going to go after this, I had like 1,670 people.
You're going to 1,690 right after this. Okay, what is your Instagram?
At Find Your Austin.
Why Find Your Austin? I love that name. Why at Find Your Austin?
Because it is, again, it's your Austin, right? Like, we're not just trying to help you find a house. Like, who are you? Where do you want to be? How can we help you find your Austin? There are so many different Austins, right? There's ultra marathoner Austin. There's the record guy Austin. There, so many different Austins. So at Find Your Austin. And
I'm checking out your page here.
Oh gosh. Oh no.
Is this your dog?
Yeah, that's Goldie. Isn't she so cute?
What kind of dog?
She's a Coton de Tuliere.
That's way above my pay
grade. I had never heard of that either.
That's just a cute dog. I'm going to go with cute dog, lily white. Yeah. Okay. All right. And now, is this an example of the videos?
That's one. Oh, I recorded at my house, but not that one. Yeah, it's a numbers update. But the one, you want me to show you the one that
Yeah. Show me
the one that the person.
Here we are in the middle of a podcast, and I'm like, show me that video.
That
oh.
Lisa Munoz with the Munoz Group. I'm here at one of my rental properties to show you some of the top mistakes that home buyers make when shopping for a house.
All right.
I love it. I mean, like.
So that was the one apparently that got me like a deal.
Now, who taught you how to go, hey, like, were you with like Brad? Like, do you know who Brad? Like,
I
Brad
do know
was
who
probably
he is,
at
but
that
I don't.
event.
But you know what?
Big shout out to Brad. Brad's like, hey, it's really nice to meet you. And then the camera goes on. He goes, hey, I'm Brad, and this is my wife, and here we are. And these are our kids, and this is what's good. Like, he's so amplified, but he's memorable.
Yeah.
And everybody remembers him, and they're like, there's that guy. He's an amazing real estate agent.
Yeah. No, it wasn't Brad.
Okay.
I mean, I have a lot of energy and my thing. I didn't realize this until like 4 or 5 years ago, but one of my clients is like, you always say, hey, hey. And I was like, I had no idea. So, hey, I guess is my bit.
All right.
I mean, I didn't know it was
it's like
my
the
bit.
calling card.
Well,
you need cards that just say, hey.
Hey. But my 14-year-old son the other night when I was like, oh, I'm going to go record a podcast. He was like, what, Mom? What's your bit? Because, like,
you need
Jacksepticeye or what, all these people have this. I'm like, I don't think I have one of those yet.
Can I get a hey?
Hey.
All right. It's even the finger too.
It's a hey.
I saw the whole thing.
Yeah.
All right. So if somebody wants to reach out and like pick your brain, obviously they can follow you there. You probably don't know how to read DMs. Can they email you? Can they call you?
I do now know how to read DMs.
Congratulations.
A couple of people have reached out. It's been super awesome.
Yeah.
But email. But I think let's go with this Instagram
All right,
situation.
You're going to check out this Instagram situation.
I'm going to check it out. It out.
All right. So follow her there. You can ask her questions. We're going to be together live in Austin, but that roadmap just sold out, right? So I'm loving this like intimate rooms, like 300 people is like the max, and it's going to be like standing room. I love it.
Very cool.
Houston, we got all these other events, so you should definitely check it out. But if you're coming to Austin, she's my special guest speaker in the afternoon. So thank you for being on the show. Thank you for driving up. I can't wait for people to hear this message. There were so many things for people to unpack. You're going to get DMs of like, what about and how about, like, how do you pay Care Bear? What's that like? So just get ready for all that stuff and more.
Okay.
And I know your heart, so I know you'll answer questions and deliver. Closing thoughts for the person watching. What do you most want them to hear as we wrap this up?
I mean, I think that I want people to go back to what's most important, which again is the people that they're already in relationship with, the people who are supporting their business. Like, look at the past 12 months of your business and write down those folks or print out the spreadsheet of who has referred you or given you repeat and see how you can meet them where they are. Make sure that they know that you know them. Show them in some way. Say something to them. Write them a note.
Love it.
Whatever.
Love it. And if all else fails, take your last 5 emails, then put it into Chat GPT and say, please write something lovely about this person. Take like 4 Instagram posts. They put all the text, but inside there, please write a personal note.
We started using that too. Not for that, but yeah.
It's so bananas.
So cool.
It's like my favorite new tool. I love AI. Okay, Lisa, thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you so much for being in my community. Make sure you follow her on Instagram. Absolutely reach out with a question. And as always, like, hey, like and subscribe and do all that stuff, right? It means the world to me. And if you would like write a review, like, oh my God, I don't even know what I would do with myself. Please do something like that. And by the way, if you're watching at the very end, I now have readers. It's official.
They look great.
I can't really see anything now, but I can read. So it's really good. So
Those are really cool ones.
Thank you. And thank you. All right, we'll see you soon.